Say hi. Look at Violet's little hairdo. You show your dolly. Is this strawberry shortcake? Yeah. So today I'm going to show you how to make these masks. Cool. So the ones that I made, I actually put, here we go, double fold bias on the ends, and it's actually a pocket. So I cut a long strip of fabric and folded it in half, and then did some tucks, some folds going down. Obviously in the back it goes up. So, and then there's a pocket here for filters, and I cut felt. If it's a non-woven, that works the best, and that's what's recommended. So there was also a recommendation for, and I don't know if this is really going to work, but to use wipes, because that's a non-woven fabric, and to dry them out, like I'm talking about baby wipes, you know, to dry them out and then to fold them up and put them in there. But I cut a bunch of fleece and felt. I have a fussy baby. And I did use cord elastic, but I ran out. So this is actually a 1/4 inch. It's like underwear elastic. Like if you were to make, oh, you're tired, that's your problem. And I used that. It is kind of, it's bigger around the ear, but it's a lot more comfortable. It's not perfect, but it's best to put it, I didn't do it with these ones, but it's best to put it through the casing. And that way it'll really like gather up and cinch in a lot better. So here's the piece before you fold it in half. And you fold it in half long ways. So you have a front and a back, and then you fold it down like that, and then you do two. The top one is gonna have more room here, and then the bottom two are gonna be shorter. I can measure that exactly to tell you what it is. And also, after doing these, I didn't measure my pleats. I just did it quickly. It doesn't have to be perfectly measured, as long as it gives them more room to hug their face, you know, when the pleats open up. So it looks like the top one is like 1 1/4 inch down, and then the next one is 1/2 inch and 1/2 inch. And what I folded back was a total of 1 inch, so it was 1/2 inch up and 1/2 inch down, because if you put it in the pleat, it's 1/2 inch right there. So, and then this is the piece here. And what I did actually was take the fabric, if you have, which a lot of this is cotton, is 45 inches wide, right? So I did along the selvage, let's see, is the other one white? Here we go. Along the selvage, I put the length, the longest part rather. And then with cotton, you can snip it and rip it. That gives you the most even cut, but just to know that you'll lose a little bit because of all the threads coming out. So this, I have not ripped this end. I guess I did it on the other end, but I'll show you here. Let me get my scissors. So you snip it about that far in, and then rip it, and it'll rip right on the grain. And then, I think I got 5 masks going this way, and there was like a piece like this big left over. But to me it was a lot quicker, especially if you're making several. So you do the length of it like that, and then snip it just a tiny bit past that, probably like 1/8 of an inch, so that all the threads that you lose, I love that noise, all the threads that you lose aren't going to cut into your actual thing. See, like that. And you want to pull them out, yeah, because they're just going to keep coming out. And yes, you'll sneeze a little bit, but I like doing it this way. Some people don't like ripping fabric and getting all the lint around. I don't. Fine by me. Okay, and so now that this is the longest part, then you measure down with this. Oh, Violet's fussy. Measure down with this, do the same thing, snip it and clip it all the way down, and you'll get 5. Just do a tiny bit more. And also, if you do it this way, I always keep one, like this teddy bear one, is always just gonna be my pattern. I don't like using paper patterns, but this is gonna be my pattern forever. And so you'll get 5, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then this is the little piece left over. So I feel like that's the quickest way to do it. Okay, so I measured it. It is 7.5 this way, so that's 1/4 of an inch seam allowance on each side, and then 14 inches the long way. And that's also, actually that's 1/2 inch on each side, because you're going to twice turn the hem, so it's gonna be like this little sliver, just whatever you can twice turn easily. Then that's the first step. So then after that, you fold it in half, you measure down, what did I say, 1 inch? And what you can do, if this helps you, if you do want to be exact every time, is to measure down 1 inch and then do a little clip, or you can do a straight pin like this, you know, put a pin there and do the same on the other side. But really, I stopped doing it only because you want it to fold naturally with the grain line, because you don't want to fight it, it'll be twisted. So you can fold on where I put the 2 pins and then fold it down, and really it's just a teeny tiny fold there. See, it's probably about 1/4 of an inch. Yep. So it's just a little pinch, and if you pull it and see the grain lines, it's good. It's actually folding nicely. And here's an example. If it was off, I don't want to put a pin in my mouth. When you folded it, it would pull funny, right? If you did one side a little bit longer and one side a little bit shorter, it would be funky. So you could just measure down even 1 inch on one side and pull the fabric and see where it automatically just folds in on it, or folds itself, and then just fold that down like that. Boop. And then pin it in place. You can even fold it in half and see if you got the same amount of fold right there and there. Then you can use your ruler and measure down a little bit more. Really, I just did another pinch, just a little bit down, and do the same thing. Fold it in half, pin it, or pin it however you want to. This is how I work. Obviously, you can just lay it down on your table. And also, if you have your iron set up, you can, you know, crease each one as you go, but you can also use your nails just finger press it. and it works too. It works to keep it in place. And then you do one more fold. My fold kind of got kind of funky there, so I'm gonna undo it. And then after you do that, after you have your 3 folds, 1, 2, 3 on each side, then you just do a basting stitch, or I didn't use a basting length, I just used a regular stitch length, and sew it there. This will be twice turned here, which is easier to do first, so it'll come to like that length. And you know what I did? I actually used a mask, like a paper one, for an example of a finished one, like how big it should be. Can see if I can find that. But actually, I'll just measure the one that I have made. So it should finish around 3.5 this way, and it should still be, with the bias tape, it ends up being 6, 7, 8 inches, or with the twice fold hem tape here. Yeah, and then you just put on the hem tape on the ends like you would any other thing, you know, lay it down right sides together, sew it on, then fold it and fold it over to the other side and top stitch it down, leaving it open on the top and the bottom. And I also had to, because of the elastic I had to use, because it's so much wider, I had to open it up a little bit to shove it in there. But you should actually put the elastic through the whole casing and then tie it in a loop like that at the end. Boop. And then shove that into the casing part, because then it'll gather the bias tape and it'll lay nicer on the face right here. It'll kind of gather it up and make it tighter to the face. If you have smaller elastic, that's better, like 1/8 of an inch or 1/4 of an inch. Well, sorry, this might be 3/8 actually. Well, with the fringe, it ends up being almost 1/2 inch, so it's way too big. Folding elastic like this is not a good idea. It doesn't really keep its shape well. So yeah, and then you can cut the filters smaller than this, because also keep in mind when you're putting on the elastic, try it on your face, see how comfortable it is around your ear, and then measure that, and then cut several pieces, however many that you're making, measure that, and then you'll know your exact length, because all elastic stretches differently and fits differently. And of course, like my husband, I had to make his a little bit bigger because he has a beard. So, but keep in mind that once you put the filter in, it'll add a little bit of bulk right here. So you might want to cut some filters first out of felt and put it in there and then put it on. Or if you have paper towels, I know paper towels are very, don't want to be used for things like this right now, but just something to put in there and then measure around your ear to see how much elastic that you need, plus a little bit to turn and to tie. Try one out, do a sample one, and then you'll know. Measure it when you cut it, then you'll say, okay, I need to take away this much or add this much for it to fit right. So there you go. It's actually pretty quick if you do it assembly style. Cut a bunch of them, do each step on each one. And I thought doing 5 at one time was pretty good. It wasn't like, oh, I'm just so over this, you know. You could do 5 at a time. It worked out really well. Okay, thanks for watching. Bye guys, good luck.